Afternoon game here in Calgary alongside Joe Vitale, Darren Pang on Blues Game Day Live. And love the afternoon game. Number one, we're going to get home. It's going to be the last game before the Christmas break. And I think we're all looking forward to that, Joe. I'm sure you are too, huh, bud?
Oh, yeah. You know, you looked at this game.
Got all your shopping done?
Yeah, I got a little bit done yesterday. I got you something. I'll set you up with it later. You know, I think we're getting home at 10 o'clock, which is when you're playing in Calgary. Right before the Christmas break. I know the guys are excited about it. I know we as broadcasters, the whole staff's excited about it. So we're looking forward to Christmas break, but we do have one here tonight.
Got to play well.
And you want to jump out and get in this Christmas break feeling good.
Okay, so let's go back to the last game in Vancouver. Unbelievable first period in Vancouver. Dominated. Markstrom, give him credit. But this is one of the things that the Blues have had to deal with all year long, Joe. Just adversity. It went great in the first, but they didn't score. Start the second period, give up one. Still a good hockey game in front of you. Give up a bad second goal, I thought. One that, certainly Jake Allen wants to and needs to be more aggressive on that. Kind of a goal line stand and making sure you're firm there. And then obviously the third goal of the game was a bad one off the back. So that part of the goaltending wasn't quite there, but still they're in the hockey game. So your thoughts on what the Blues did real well there in Vancouver? You know,
I thought that first period was just really good Blues hockey. And I loved it because it was that response period after a great game in Edmonton, because the way the seesaw has gone for the Blues a lot of this year, you have a good game, you have a bad game, good game, bad game. So you come off a great victory versus Edmonton, you come in Vancouver, and you have a great 5-on-5 period. I love that aspect of it. You know, then the Blues start running a little bit of penalty trouble. Yeah. And, you kind of bail out a little bit. You know, Pettersson makes a great little backdoor play, but you're still in it. The team's still doing well. So I love the team response to it. And like you said, just having that Jake make that save. He made that save in Edmonton. We talked about it already with that Draisaitl big save from McDavid on the power play. And that's when I believe it was Perron who comes down and scores the opening goal. So if Jake can come out here tonight and make that big save, that desperate timing save, I think we're going to be in business tonight.
Well, it looks like the goaltending will be Jake Allen up against Mike Smith. David Riddick had played well for Calgary against the St. Louis Blues. Mike Smith got the loss earlier in the season. So Blues win this afternoon here in Calgary. They can go 2-1 against one of the very best teams in the National Hockey League. That would end up a pretty solid road trip, going 2-1 and beating this team.
Oh, yeah, early Christmas present indeed. I mean, this is one of the hottest teams in the NHL right now. They're leading in the Pacific. Good test. You mentioned Mike Smith in net. A goalie that they had a lot of success on. Early in October, I believe, was the first week of the season. David Perron had a hat trick. Mike Smith's very good. We were just talking about it. Very good at playing the puck. Sometimes too much so. A little overconfident at times. He likes to hold on to it a little bit too long. We saw how that kind of bit him in the butt there in October as David Perron and the booty. And can you say booty or butt? I'm not really
sure.
Sure.
You can. Absolutely.
Yeah. But it bit him. David Perron took advantage of that. So for the Blues to get in on that forecheck, hard forecheck tonight, really test the defenseman, really test this goaltender is going to be important. And I think that puck management thing, and I'd like to get your thoughts on this too. Calgary does such a good job at clogging that neutral zone. The defenseman, that veteran group, they really step up. They make it very hard on them. We saw that last week. The Blues really couldn't penetrate any kind of forecheck. And what's the way around that?
Well, if they're going to defend the lines, which they do very, very well. Their gap closure is excellent. They're very patient. They hold the lines. But if they're going to take away the wingers, because the Blues have a tendency to go D to D to the strong side winger, and when that happens, the other team's defenseman, obviously, Joe, you're being a winger, they jump right up. They push you out of it, basically, and all you can do is get a stick on it. So to avoid an icing call, I think there's going to be ice in front of the defenseman. I think if the defensemen look and then hang on to it with a little bit of patience, get going right up the guts of the ice, they can at least get the red line, get it in deep, and they can follow it up with their own forecheck, in my opinion. But you mentioned Mike Smith. You've got to be very, very smart where you put pucks on Smitty, because otherwise it's just going to come down the rest of the way. It's going to be a waste of time entering the zone. So that's going to be one part of it. The other part of it, they've got 4 or 5 players that are 30 or more points.
Yes.
I mean, they're obviously top heavy. Their top line is extraordinary. So I didn't like the way the Blues played against them the last game. It was them with the puck, and it was the Blues without any abrasiveness at all to the game. I think you have to be a little abrasive with that top unit, and then with Matthew Tkachuk on the second line.
Yeah, definitely a little too loosey. You look at the game last week when they got just pretty much a thumping in St. Louis. To get back to that first goal, I believe it was a power play goal, but Matthew Tkachuk all alone in front, something that just cannot happen. You have to be harder at your own net in front of Jake and to help bail him out at times. This first line is incredible with Gaudreau, but then what's scary about this group, if you really look at the lineup, then you got James Neal, who's hanging on the third line right now, with Frolik, who's now back. I believe he'll be back tonight. He's nursing a high ankle sprain, so you have him in the lineup as well. Bennett, I mean, this 3 top lines that are up and running, they're aggressive, they play fast. this lineup, they play with bite too. We've seen them where they'll go toe to toe, and that Edmonton game a few weeks ago, that battle with all the fights and the physicality in that game. So this is just a well balanced group that I think everyone in this lineup for the St. Louis Blues has to be ready to bring an incredible 5-on-5 game if they want to have any success here tonight. And I think staying disciplined is going to be huge moving forward too.
You got to stay disciplined for sure. They got good point shots from Mark Giordano and TJ Brody and what have you. Going back to the Blues a little bit, Craig Berube has shown a great deal of faith and patience with the line combinations. And even though it does look like Robbie Fabry is ready to go, Sanford's obviously recalled from the American Hockey League, but as far as we know anyway, this time a couple of hours before puck drop, he won't make any changes. So he's saying to this group, okay, this is it right here. I'm giving you a good opportunity. Like the top line, Shen Schwartz and Tarasenko's now got goals in back-to-back games. That confidence is there. The Steen line, the Maroon line, and obviously the next line up would be the Sundqvist line. So, what part of the equation do you think needs a little bit of giddy up and go here?
If I look at the lineup, to your credit, what you just said there, I love the Braden Shen line. I even think at Spurs in the Vancouver game, they were up and running. I think we're starting to see them back at it. The fourth line, I mean, they're just a wash. They are what they are, and they're going to be great every single night. They're responsible.
They're creating chances.
They're trustworthy, and Craig Berube loves it about them. He's like, listen, this is not just a checking line, defensive responsibility. These guys like to score goals, and I love that as my fourth line. So fourth line, top line have been great. The Bozak line really coming on with Maroon, and Thomas the Tank Engine, as you like to call him. He made a couple nice in and out moves. He's starting to really figure the game out. Craig Berube said he's really starting to figure the league out, and you really see it in his confidence. I would like to see something out of the Ryan O'Reilly line tonight. When you have a matchup, and Braden Shen's going to start getting some hard matchups now because this is the line that every team is going to be looking towards. This is the moment for Ryan O'Reilly's line, who's been great all year long, without a doubt. But the last couple games, for him to kind of come into this game tonight and to face that second or third line, maybe a little bit of a mismatch, to have the O'Reilly Steen line, and who else is their winger? Help me out over there.
David Perron.
And David Perron. To get them up and running 5-on-5, to really spend some good time in the offensive zone, and to chip in might be important. Yeah,
well, I'm if you can get it from wave after wave after wave and sustain pressure. The other aspect of it, the Blues in the last 12 got 4 goals from the defenseman, all 4 coming from Colton Parayko as well, and so we'll keep our eye on that. Maybe they can generate a little bit more offense from the defense.
That'd be great.
Huh?
Let's do it.
I like that too. Game time today is 3 o'clock in St. Louis Central Standard Time. 3 o'clock, 2:30 is the pregame show on KMOX and on Fox Sports Midwest. John Kelly and I have the call, and of course Chris Kerber and Joe Vitale have the call on the radio side as well. So it's Jake Allen against Mike Smith. It's going to be a good one this afternoon. Be prepared for it. Get yourself ready. A little hot toddy right there. Maybe a little eggnog, something like that, Joe. Maybe some bread, too, because Joe makes bread. We'll get into that one other time. And so for that, I say good afternoon to everybody as we summarize. It's the Blues and it's the Flames, and it's this afternoon.
Let's go.
For Joe Vitale, I'm Darren Pang. Happy holidays, everybody.